of course, not shortly after getting the Miata, I'm already upgrading it. Today, I have a cold air intake that I'll be putting on the car. It's an adjustable diameter, which means I can adjust it from 4-inch tubing to 3-inch tubing. Today, I think the stock car comes with 3-inch tubing. And I'll show you what the plan is, because there's this big complicated air box from the Miata, because it's right next to the headers system, and instead it's going to be this guy right here. Okay, so when you might look at this, while the engine bay is clean, especially for a 32-year-old car, it's complicated and you might not understand what you're looking at. Now, this is a box filter. It's really hard to breathe. It's super good for keeping the car cool. But the bad part about it is it's not super good for performance. It's super restrictive and it doesn't let airflow go through. So instead, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove this entire box, this entire contraption. I'm gonna put the mass airflow sensor into the side of this tube, and then from this V-clamp, I'm gonna put it onto that. And this entire box has a loop around system that comes up over here and dumps out over here. So it's grabbing cold air from next to this fender. There's nothing else. There's a whole little like backing area in this entire thing. All of this entire system is gonna be deleted. It's gonna be really heavy. I'm gonna delete all of it, and instead it's just gonna go directly to this. Mass airflow sensor is not gonna have this little housing that it has. I think this is technically a throttle body. A lot of people that I've seen on the aftermarket market have it as a U-band shape and goes right here. Now, I don't know what this is, but the cars that I watched the videos on, none of them had this. And it's in the way, so I can't locate it here. So I can locate it down in this corner, which I don't aesthetically like because the throttle's right here, and it has to go all the way around. So very first thing I'm gonna do right now before I start touching the car, I'm gonna make so much noise, just munching on chips. Okay, the very first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn on the car, and you can hear the before, so that whenever I have the after clip, you're gonna be able to hear the difference of the part that we're modifying. So, okay, so I'm gonna quickly get in the car. Had a friend come over and they looked at it, so the seat's a little further back, so I gotta quickly move up my seat. Okay, I'm gonna turn it on. And
wait for connection.
Okay, I'm gonna let it run for a little bit. Super healthy motor. Love the sound of this. And then this is gonna be the before. I'm gonna use it as a clip. And then I'm gonna play the after to the end of the video, and you'll hear the difference. So I'm gonna pull on the throttle. Wait until I do it afterwards. So I have to keep the airflow meter. If this isn't plugged in, like I just tried to start up the car and found out, if this isn't plugged in, the engine thinks, okay, I'm not getting any air because this isn't reading any air. And so there's no pressure coming through it. So instead, it cuts all of the motor to try to save it because it thinks that there's an airflow leak. So what I have to do is I'm gonna mount this further down. But now if you notice, there's a clamp right here. Theoretically, I could shape it the other direction and have it mounted in here to go over there. And since this big box all the way down there, I'm removing that entire box, I could lower this to be on the chassis, which also allows me to mount it hard point. And what I'm gonna do instead is I'm gonna have a tube on this side. Once it's lower into the thing, come up over right to where this is, and that's where I'll have the filter. So the filter will be able to direct brand new cold air from either here or in here into the car, which is gonna be a lot better than inside the fender. I like it. We're gonna see, I'm gonna start taking some things apart. I'm gonna take off the box. We'll just have the throttle, and we'll just have the tube going to the throttle, or the airflow meter. And then I'm gonna try to see where it sits, and if I like it. And if I don't, I can always just put these parts right back on. So, yeah. Okay, so what I've done is I've removed every single point where the air box is attached and declipped this wire. So now all I have to do, see how it's like not hanging into anything? All I gotta do is quickly unscrew this, unplug the air mass flow sensor, and then at which point I'm gonna start trying to fit up my new air intake, and maybe we can even turn on and hear how it sounds in a couple minutes here. So I'm gonna unscrew these little screws right here. I'm gonna have to replug this into this portion just so we still get a reading. And then I'm gonna take out this entire box and show you how much it is and how restrictive it is. So, okay, so I've came up with a game plan. This is now mounted lower into the car than it was prior, and I also was able to get out the air box and the tube that goes to the side, right? I can always reinstall this if I need to, but I hope not, because the solution for this is gonna be, I'm gonna do custom brackets that mount this to that hole right there that I took it out. Also, I have structural support of this right here, and I can always bracket it to that. So I'm not worried about bracketing. That's gonna be mounted there once and for all. What I need to do is get a metal plate to a circle, and then that circle shape is gonna be attached to the bent tubing that goes up above onto this, at which then this is gonna sit. I already measured, it's not gonna hit the hood, but the look of this is gonna look good because it's gonna come back around. So this is gonna be a bent tubing, go right around there, put it back out, and it'll be facing the front. If I ever wanna do a direct cold airflow, I could remove the stock headlights and put carbon fiber surround, and then have a air induction system right here, goes underneath the headlight up to this, if I ever wanna do that. But I like this a lot more, and it's also gonna be a lot louder. I've already turned it on with no airflow box, only for a second, not to suck up anything, but just to hear how it sounds, and it sounds better. So let's go to Menards. I gotta pick up the tools. Hopefully we can make this work. It might be a 2-day project, but hopefully we can grab everything we need today. So I was able to get a 3-inch to 2-inch piping. While this is just like plastic, it is also the same kind of hard. This is actually like soft plastic, and that's hard plastic over there. It's the exact same kind of plastic that goes on this, so it's not like I'm necessarily like lowering the quality of this. Pretty much what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a PVC black plate with 4 holes in it, and then I'm gonna JB weld, pretty much plastic weld this onto that plate so that this sits in there like this, and it will work perfect. Now all I gotta do is put this rubber clamp on here. To do so, I'm gonna heat it up a little bit. It like barely doesn't fit, so I could either sand the outside of that or heat this up and try to fit this over this. That's the goal for tonight. And then tomorrow, I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna buy a small piece of black PVC and some plastic weld. And then I'm gonna put these two together and then put it in like that. And bada bing, bada boom, your boy got a new intake. Okay, so this is what this is gonna look like. This is gonna mount on the back side of the PVC. I put this into there with another V-clamp around it, or whatever these twisty clamps are called. I'm pretty sure they're called V-clamps. So this is gonna be the very top, and then the logo is gonna show the very top. Perfect mounted U-shape. It's gonna look perfect when I'm done, and I'm excited to get it all done. Plastic weld next time with a little bit of square setup, and then bada bing, bada boom. It's ready to go. This is part number 2. Today, I have the PVC plastic, and then I have the JB weld I'm going to be using. It's a 2-part epoxy that you mix together. It takes 5 minutes to set and about 1 hour to cure. But what am I using that for? The back portion, which is a square that I need to turn into a circle, I'm going to make this flush mounted onto this with a hole, and then brackets to hold it into the OEM stock positioning. I'm not going to use this side because it's slightly rough. It doesn't really matter, but I don't like it. So I'm going to use the other side, which is smooth, which is the exact same material as this. So it's going to make a nice hold. And I'm going to drill out the holes, and I'm going to drill out the middle so that way it functions right. Once we're done with this today, my video for tomorrow is going to be this. It's blurred in the video right now, but this is my brand new pair of wheels. You can maybe tell even when it's blurred, but it's a silver deep dish wheel. You'll see tomorrow. But yeah, for this, I'm gonna go downstairs, get my Dremel, start cutting, and then yeah, we'll be good to go. I picked up the airflow box and I listened to like something shake inside of it, and it was a pine cone that fell out of this, as well as like all sorts of little debris and stuff. Shows why you need an air filter. Anyways, I'm gonna leave this here. I'm gonna put my tools away real quick, and we'll be right back to actually grab, hopefully, the piping. It's a 3-inch tube that I need, and if it's too long, I can always Dremel and cut it, and I can always make this all work. This isn't like a daily driver. It's sitting all winter, so it's time for me to just work on it. And I actually I was worried about if I mounted like this, that the logo was gonna be upside down no matter what. But now that I mounted like this, you can actually clearly read the logo on the top, which I think is gonna look a lot better as well. That is the final setup. What I've done is have the tubing link into a U shape with the map or the airflow sensor going in between the U so that it isn't super taut. It looks like it's a little taut, but there's some flexibility to it. It's just a really stiff wire. And then what I did is out of that PVC board, cut the exact holes on the PVC board, and then use JB Weld and make sure these two are adhered to each other, and it should not move. Now, the main truth is the side-by-side comparison. So I'm going to quickly turn on the car, hear if it sounds any different, making sure everything's all good. And then we're going to pull on the throttle, and we're going to listen, and this should pick up more air, and it should sound a lot better. Deeper grow into it, too. And it's running. Everything is, I can actually feel a little bit of air. Everything is mounted where it's supposed to be. It looks really good. It kind of looks like as if a turbo is there. I know I'm not going to probably go turbo set it until much later. The main moment of truth, I turned it on and it sounded a little better. Main second is making sure that I can set down the hood. But before that, I got to make sure it sounds good. So we're going to pull on the throttle. I'm going to pull on the throttle. Anyways, it sounds so much better, guys. If you guys want to do this at home, follow the instructions I just listed, and I'll even have like a description part list of all the things that I got. This cost me $77 online. You cannot find one cheaper for like $250 or $300. If you do find a cheap one, let me know. And if you want to build this, tag me. And if you do build it, I want to see what it looks like you're apart. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. You know what's up. And then in the next video, I'll be revealing the wheel setup. I just got brand new wheels for this car. So they're still going to be 16s, but it's going to be an aggressive fitment. So